Hello everybody and welcome to Star Trek Online. I'm of course the Sage of Games, and somewhere off camera are two very obnoxious dogs that I'm sure are going to interrupt my video at some point. But just bear with me on that one. Anyway, today I am going to be doing a video that is a special request from someone who I spent probably about an hour and a half discussing this very topic in STO's chat. And ultimately, kind of basically decided that my next video was going to be about this very sort of topic, so that it could, if nothing else, it could be used as a visual aid. So basically, what I'm talking about is the unspoken of third level of characters. Now, the two that everyone knows about, which is of course your main character, which you only really have one of, and your alts, which are other characters that you use to one, expand your refining limit, two, expand how many energy credits you are capable of having account-wide. Seeing as how the account bank only allows you to hold $500 million, so 500 million, and a given character can only have 2 billion. But if you have 10, that's 20 billion. And third, increase bank space. Four, basically you can have redundant sources of income, like why do duty officers and Admiralty and reputation on one character when you easily have enough income and resources to utilize that across 6 or 7? You get the idea. Well, there is a third level that I'm going to talk about today. No one ever really talks about it, either probably because they just don't talk about it or they don't know about it. And that is the disposable dilithium farmer. What is a disposable dilithium farmer? And before I go any further, I know some of you have just looked at the name of the ship. Yes, it is called the Intoxicated Leprechaun. But the ship that is in that background there, its rather interesting sort of build is going to be the topic of another video. Because we're not going to be focusing on my main character today. We're going to be focusing on one of my MCU knockoff alts. And I'm going to use it as the first visual aid in how this whole process works. So, what is the purpose of a disposable dilithium farmer character? Well, the purpose is you create it just so that you can get the bonus dilithium that is at the end of the reputation system, at the end of the Admiralty system, and once they're old enough, they can go to Philip Cray or the temporal officer on the Klingon homeworld, whichever one, depending on which of the two factions you ally your character with. Excuse me. And can then get the rewards from the Delta Recruit and the Gamma Recruit events that were run back when the Delta Alliance thing came out and the Victory is Life thing came out, and then they did these events where new characters made during that time would have a unique backstory, and if they completed tasks, they got special rewards. These rewards often included dilithium. But the catch is that any alternates made during or after this time, in order to be able to claim these account-wide rewards, would have to either be a character that starts off at level 1 and makes his way to Commander, or the Klingon equivalent, or the equivalent of whatever faction you're a part of, or if it's a Jem'Hadar, because they start off at level 60, has been in play for 20 hours, which is to say, excuse me, kind of blow my nose here, by the way, not corona, just allergies. Seriously, when you live around as many cottonwood trees as I do. Anyway. God, that left an itch behind. Anyway. So, Jem'Hadar, they have to be logged in for at least 20 hours of your gameplay experience in order to qualify for those rewards, which I think if you claim them all at once, I think is worth about maybe 3 days worth of refining dilithium, and that's just going up there and clicking a bunch of rewards. Not to mention that this can also help with the reputation thing, because a lot of those boxes have reputation marks, and a few of them give you 200 at a time, which is enough to run the reputation system for one faction for about a week per one that gives you 200. Now the Delta Alliance ones from the Delta event, those ones are a little more restrictive because you can only use it to get marks in Task Force Omega, Nukara, Romulus, and Delta. And I think there was a fifth one, but I can't remember what it is. Oh, Dyson. Dyson Sphere. That's the one that everyone forgets. You can only pick marks out of those 5. The Gamma Recruit ones let you pick anything except Discovery, because Discovery was not out by the time Victory's Life came out. So those boxes will give you anything from Task Force Omega up to Gamma Quadrant, no Discovery marks. However, if you do random TFOs, you'll get Starbase 1 plenty enough, so there's that. So we're going to go ahead and go to my MCU knockoff character, Mr. Tony Stark. Now there's a reason why I'm going here. He's not high enough in level to be able to use any of these systems yet. And I mean any of them. He can only do duty officering. Oh, got him got a free duty officer. Oh, let's see. Yeah, as you can see, this tune is not very well developed at all. Okay. Hell, this character is seldom ever played on. Okay, so when we were talking, me and the guy I'm making this video for, well, let me rephrase. I'm making it for all of you, but I'm kind of like more or less making it at his behest. Though actually it was more like I said I should probably make a video on this, and they agreed. Anyway, I wanted to figure out if making this third type of character, the disposable dilithium farmer, wanted to see if it was even worth it. So I did some math. I channeled my inner Dr. Bashir post the episode Dr. Bashir, I presume, where it was found out that he was genetically engineered. Yeah, this is after that. I'm channeling that Dr. Bashir. Not the bumbling, clumsy one who intentionally failed at everything he set out to do, just so in that way he could hide the fact that he was genetically modified. Anyway, back to the interesting part. Well, first, I wanted to figure out how much dilithium you would get in the 32,500 dilithium bonus that you get. I'm just going to use this email thing here as a notepad. Let's blow this up here. Okay. Too bad I can't change the size of the fonts here. Okay, so 32,500 dilithium ore bonus from reaching T5 or tier 5 in a reputation faction. And there are 13 factions, so times 13 factions. Well, how much dilithium is that? That is, my friends, 422,500 dilithium ore. That's a lot. It may not seem like it, but it is kind of a lot. And that's after 20 days of doing the reputation system, if whenever you build up a disposable character, if you get all the marks you need and across the entire spectrum of reputations before you actually start doing them. Question is how many marks do you need in each rep? Well, let's see. There are 5 tiers. You start off at tier 0. You do X number of dailies and you do an assignment where you spend 5 marks to advance to the next tier. So, and then if your main has reached tier 5 in all of them, which in order for this to even be remotely effective or even remotely worth it, yeah, your main has to achieve tier 5 in all the reputations, either your main or one of your alts. Or a mixture, like your main achieved tier 5 in the first 3 and your alts did the rest. Whatever, I don't care. Just as long as every single one of these reputations, all 13 of them, have the bonus in place where because your tune is an alt, it can gain a reputation experience at double the rate, which is 5,000 a day. And it takes 100,000 experience to hit tier 5. So 100,000 divided by 5,000 is 20 days. Now, 20 days, doing dailies each day, which is 30 marks, equals 600 marks. But then there's also extra marks that are paid because every time you advance up in tier, you can't do a daily again until you take the level increase, which costs 5 marks each time. So there's tier 0 to tier 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 5. So 5 times 5 marks each, that's another, that's 25. So 625 marks to make it happen. Alright, so 625 marks across all 13 reputations. Now there are ways to get all that specifically. There are really good ways to go about it. For one thing, I don't remember how many, you know, talking to Philip Cray over there, you know, talking to that dude, I don't remember offhand how many of those boxes from the Gamma side of the event thing gives you 200, but if it's like at least 2, you can get 200 of the competitive marks eliminated right then and there just by getting those boxes. So that would make it to where if you're doing the whole random TFO thing, which is actually the fastest possible way, you would only have to spend maybe 3 or 4 of your random TFO choice of mark reward boxes getting competitives. The rest you could dump into Iconians or Iconian or Dyson or Gamma, perhaps, because those 3 are, for me, the rarest to get, just because of the fact that whenever I hit random TFO, I almost never get a TFO from those groups. So, for 625 marks in each rep over the course of 20 days, 422,500 Dilithium ore. Now, even if you don't get them all at once, that's fine, because every time you tier 5 a rep, you're going to be spending the next 4 days refining nothing but surplus dilithium, with every bit of dilithium you get after that going into surplus. Now, that's for the reputation system. Now, how about the Admiralty? I keep fat fingering buttons today. Alright. So there are 4 factions, right? All 4 of them have 10 tiers. Now, I can show you here. No, I can't, not on this character. So you have to take my word for it. Or if you're in STO right now, you can just follow along on a character that can use the Admiralty system. Whenever you hit tier 1 in any one of them, you get 1,000 dilithium ore, times that by 4 because there's 4 factions. At tier 5, you get 5,000, times 4 because again, 4 factions. At tier 10, at wish it went to tier 120. Can you imagine that dilithium reward? At tier 10, it's 20,000 times 4. Because again, 4 factions. How much dilithium is that? Well, let's see. This would actually be 80,000. This one would work out to being 20,000. That one would work out to being 4,000. So that one, so altogether, that works out to being. Come on, computer, cooperate with me here. So altogether, that works out to being 104,000 dilithium. Alright. And then there's also the dilithium you get over there from Philip Cray, which, depending on how much of the other, you know, the Delta and Gamma events you did, can vary. I'm not entitled to receive all of it, because back when they did the Delta thing, I did not make a Klingon allied character and then do all the stuff. And then the one character I did do, after the event was done, I ignored them because I didn't think that you were able to continue earning stuff on their behalf on those tunes. Turns out you can. And then they got rid of the Breen missions, which makes it impossible to complete his reward list. So, there you go. So, there's that. Now, how much is this dilithium here altogether? I believe that comes out to 526,000. Yeah, 526,500 ore. Now, how long is it going to take you to refine that with a refining limit of 8K per day? Well, let's see, shall we? Yes, the music just dropped off. That's because I opened my calculator. I'm not going to do this kind of division in my head. I'm not that much of a Bashir. Okay, so 526,500 divided by 8,000. It would take you 65.8125 days, which means that there would be 81.25% worth of dilithium left over for a 66th day left over. So it would take 66 days to refine that all. Now, here's the thing. Yeah, that alone makes it worth it. Because you got a tune that's going to be sitting there for 2 months just refining. But there's actually more dilithium behind the curtain than that. A lot more, depending on how you gain your reputation marks. And also what random events happen when you're doing your Admiralty stuff. Reason why I say that is because a lot of the tasks that are in Admiralty, the events, there's a lot of plus 500s, which will add 500 dilithium more to whatever assignment you just took. That's things like intermix chamber salvage, dilithium dust synthesis, just those kinds of things. And then there's Lucky Vein, which is another dilithium event that rewards 1,000. And then there's Lucrative Mining Contract, my favorite, which rewards 2,000. Which is the same amount of dilithium as doing the Turn-In 5 Contraband one, only this one does not take 20 hours, unless it happens to be on a 20-hour long assignment. In fact, my favorite encounter with that event was on an assignment that said tow disabled ship into dry dock. Its engineering, tactical, and science ratings, respectively, were 20, 10, and 10. So I was able to fill that requirement with just an Excelsior-class ship. And the assignment took 15 minutes. Now, the assignment itself does not reward dilithium. It's just experience points and campaign experience. The 2,000 dilithium was just a bonus. And the interesting thing is that after I took that one, it filled up my list of assignments, so I had to wait until something completed. And that was the one that completed first, because all my others were like 2, 3, 4 hours. And the next mission I took for the same faction, I think it was the Klingon Empire, had lucrative mining claim, or lucrative mining contract underneath that one too, and it was another 15-minute one. So I basically made 4,000 dilithium in half an hour, and I didn't have to do squat, except assign a single ship. So, nice stroke of luck there. So that's something that's going to add to this guaranteed amount, this 526,500. That's going to add to it. And the thing is that if you're really lucky, you could get an additional 104,000 dilithium out of it by the time all four campaigns are maxed out. There is the potential to gain that much all over again. Also, another thing too, is when you're doing the reputation system, and I should have mentioned this one earlier, but also each one rewards 340 a day on the daily repetitive task. And again, there are 13 of them, so that's 340 times 13 times 20. So, how much ore is that going to give you on top of it? 340 times 13 times 20. That's another 88,400. So, bonus and 88,400 from dailies, which means that this number is now out of date. So 422,500 plus 88,400 plus 104,000. That means 614,900. Now, how long is that going to take to refine? 76 days, so a whole nother 10 days. Well, 11 days. So yeah, 77 days. That is 2 months and 2 weeks and 1 day on an average 30-day month. 2 months, 2 weeks, and a day to refine all that. And again, that's not all you're going to get, guaranteed, because you're going to get dilithium from the Admiralty system, and if you decide to make use of the duty officer system while you're there, or while you're on those tunes, which why wouldn't you? It's extra dilithium, it's extra energy credits to do the dailies with, especially if you do those engineering assignments where it's like, where you use 4 DOFs, get a free warp core. You know, that sort of stuff. That's going to give you dilithium as well. So, 614,900 guaranteed. 77 days to refine it. During that time, while you're just doing these assignments, and before it gets to the point where it's log in, hit refine, and log out, before it gets to that point, you're probably going to grab a few 100,000 more dilithium, which could extend how long it's going to take you to refine it all by as much as another 2 months. Especially depending if you're going the TFO route, hitting random task force operation. It depends on what difficulty you set that to. Because if you do normals, yeah, you can get through them faster. You get 480 ore, and the box you get will reward anywhere between like 500 and an additional 500 to 1,000. So just on that alone, 8 TFOs will get you your refining limit for the day. Not to mention the 4,400 and something from the reputation daily assignments, and then any dilithium you get from the Admiralty system and the duty officer system on top of it. Now, if you set it for set it for this. Just look at that one there. That one gives 720 dilithium as a base reward, and then the random marks reward, random marks of your choice, is going to be even higher, because even the common boxes have more marks in them than the rare normal TFO box. Or are they the same? I don't know. And then there's that difficulty, which I never play because not many of the people who do play at that difficulty are any good. And a lot of times what will happen is you'll get a lot of people in there who are just there because they think they're badass. Though the ones who are really badass are the ones who can play at this difficulty, and there are not many. Usually the ones who can, they're the ones that have Mark 15 solid gold builds, which is every single item on their build is maxed out. Their ship is maxed out, and it's the fleet version. On which they also got the mastery trait from the non-fleet version, as well as the non-fleet versions of many other ships whose mastery traits suit their build, so they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, and they're able to do it well. So, yeah. So I would recommend on the disposable character, play at this difficulty because you're not going to be able to afford to spend dilithium upgrading your gear. Unless you make an alt who is Federation or Klingon and not Jim, or Romulan and not Jim Hadar. And what you do is with that character, because they can only earn dilithium at a trickle, is whenever they earn 40,000 dilithium, you convert it into Phoenix upgrades, and you send those upgrades to your main character. And then what you have your main do is create a bound to account Mark 11 set, because those don't cost dilithium, I don't think. Let me check. Just to make sure, by doing this in front of you guys, you can see for yourselves. Let's see. Oh, nope, they do cost dilithium. They cost isolinear circuitry. And isolinear circuitry costs 500 dilithium apiece. And even then, a Mark 11 piece of equipment takes one of those. So yeah, a Mark 11 weapon costs 500 dilithium to make. A Mark 10, on the other hand, does not cost any dilithium to make. So there you go. By the way, this is not my crafter. My crafter is level 16 at least in all of these. Level 18 in beams. He makes really good beam weapons. So, there you go. The best thing, like I just said, the best thing to do there, have your, whichever of your characters is your crafter, make a set of gear that is bound to account that can be swapped between characters whenever it comes time that a disposable character is no longer going to be used for earning fresh ore, and he's just going to be there refining all the ore he's accumulated. Make a bound to account set so that you can make, or a bound to account build, so that when you make your second disposable character, you can just transfer that build over to their ship and to their characters and their bridge officers. So that, so in that way they can rinse and repeat the process. And anytime that gear set needs to be upgraded, just have, a dilithium trickle earning character like this one, who's not level 50 yet, earn another 40,000 dilithium to transfer to that character so that the gear set can be continuously upgraded over time and eventually can be, made to where whenever you make one of these new characters, they're going to start off with a Mark 15 gold build. Now, another thing too to take into consideration is that while Phoenix upgrades do not affect quality upgrade improvement chances, the Romulan upgrades from the Admiralty system do, from the Romulan tour of duty. So what you could also do, and remember those upgrades are bound to a character, is stockpile them, and then whenever one of those upgrade weekends comes up, take that swappable build and disperse it between the characters who have Romulan upgrades and use those upgrades to enhance those items further. It's a little bit more effective. So, in closing, You're going to want your disposable character to be a Jem'Hadar because they start off at level 60. They have access to everything. All TFOs, all the battlegrounds, which for some mark types, going to the battlegrounds is far more efficient than a TFO. Because, like, for instance, with Terran and Temporal, you can go to the Badlands and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And get 2 days worth of marks in the process. So you'd only have to go there every 3rd day. I mean, seriously, day 1, do the Badlands, get the marks, and do your daily. 2nd day, do your daily. 3rd day. Okay, so it would be every other day. So on all the odd-numbered days, you would just go back to the Badlands, maybe do 1 section, get your marks and leave, or if you want to get extra dilithium on top of it, which why wouldn't you? You complete the entire tour in the battle zone, completing all 9 segments, though really your presence would not be involved at all 9 of them on a good day. Destroy the 3 Mirror Universe star bases, and then when the Terrans try to make their final push, you do that one and you get 4 elite marks. Every 3rd day, you turn them all in, and you actually turn in not 9, but 12. So that's another 4,000 ore every 3 days. Which translates into about maybe another 10, 12,000 ore, which would add another day to this refining. Make it go from 77 to 78, but again, there's also the dilithium you're going to be getting from opening random TFO mark boxes, doing TFOs at random. So realistically, it will probably take about 100 days to refine all that dilithium, and you'd probably end up with about 800,000. So, is it worth it? Yes and no. Yes, because it's a character on which you can get the bonuses for the Reputation and Admiralty systems all over again. The rest of the dilithium is just icing on the cake. No, because of how long it takes to refine it. Any character you make for this purpose is going to be on your roster for at least 4 or 5 months. Now, if you're like me, and at once upon a time, you were in a position to where you had a lot of time to put into this game. And this was also back in the day where the daily to get the reward ship at the end of an event had to be ground separately on every single character. Well, let's take a look at my roster here. I have 12 characters. Spread across all the factions. Look at that. 12 characters. And if you're not in full screen and can read that little tooltip there says I have 7 unrestricted slots remaining, which means I could have up to 19 characters. 19. So, remember when I said any character you add is going to be on your roster for probably at least 5 months? Well, it takes roughly a month to get everything together for the reputation system, and possibly about a month if you focus to max out all the campaigns for the Admiralty system. 1 month, maybe 2. However long it takes is irrelevant because it's not going to reduce the required amount of time to do the refining. Now, what that basically means is that even if I started a character and 1 month later started the second one because I already had all the marks and everything I needed for the reputation system. The Admiralty system is something you can do just by sitting there. I would only use up at most 5 of my remaining unrestricted slots because once it came time to make character number 6, character number 1 should already have refined all of his dilithium and transferred it to another character or converted it to Zen. And at that point, I can delete that character and start over on character number 6 so that I can get to where I'm getting those bonuses all over again. And once, let's see, if we assume that you were able to get 800,000 dilithium on average per disposable farm character, how long would it take, or how many characters would you have to cycle through to max out one main character's limit of 10 million dilithium? So, 10 million dilithium divided by 800,000. You would have to make 13 characters. And if you did this, there would be about half a character's worth of dilithium left over. So that would mean 13 characters. Now, at 5 months per character, of course there is going to be the whole overlap thing. So let's see. How long would this take? And now, before I answer that question, I'm just going to say this. There are those who are going to think of this as an exploit, but here's the thing. Exploits don't take a year and a half to pull off. They take seconds. Not hours. Maybe minutes. Definitely not hours. Most definitely not days. And hell no to it taking over a year. Now remember, the exact math came out to 13 or 12.5 characters. So 12 Gem Hadars plus a mini Jimmy. So let's see. That would be first month you make one character. Second month you make character number 2. So basically each month the next character comes out. That means it would take 12 and a half months to get that much, to get all that dilithium. 12 and a half months. But you would get your 10 million. So now, the big question is going to dictate whether or not this is all worth it. We're going to go to the dilithium exchange. Now the current exchange rate is 409. Oh, it came down 2 or 3 points. To get rid of 10 million dilithium, you would get 24,449 Zen. For those of you who don't know what that is, in terms of cash dollars, if you were to buy it that way, that is $244.49 worth of Zen that you will have spent over a year earning. What could you buy with that? Well, what couldn't you buy? I mean, these ships, when they're off sale, that's 170 bucks. 170, 140, 170. Of course, I can tell you why they're at these prices. It's just so that way you would only ever want to buy them when they're on sale. And the thing is that there's not really that much that's special about these ships when these are all 30 bucks and have roughly the same capabilities. Like, for instance, the Command Sovereign, this one, is not really any more or less durable than, where is it? It's around here somewhere. Could be under, and there it is. Then that ship. Those two ships are basically the same. They're both Sovereign variants. The only difference is the $170 ship has a phase cloak that will let it pass through solid objects. Asteroids, enemy ships, other players' ships, Earth space dock, goddamn planets. This ship can pass through anything. The $170 ship, which I just now realized I said the $170 ship has the phase cloak. No, this one, the $30 ship, has the phase cloak. The $170 one, when it's not on sale, has a console weapon where it fires Metreon gas canister loaded torpedoes at a target that, when they detonate, it releases a Metreon radiation cloud around the target. It's sort of like taking the eject warp plasma ability, loading it into a torpedo, and firing that at your target. As for whether or not it's able to be detonated, I don't know. I'll have to reread the description on that ship. But, you know. And then there's also that legendary ship pack that comes out once every few months or so for a little while. If it happens to be out while you have that much Zen sitting in your lap, you could buy that whole pack and still have about $50 worth of Zen left over. So why not buy some stuff for your characters? Like maybe... well, not any of these. Those would take more than your leftovers. Like, oh, there's a good one if you don't have any Akiras. Or... that's a good one too. Or, you know, just hold on to it until you get the next ship sale. You know, that's always an option too. So, there you have it. It's not an like I said, it's not an exploit just because of the fact that it's worth it, but at the same time it's not. Because of all the effort and how long. I mean, come on. To get a character to max Dilithium, it would take 13 characters, each existing for about 5 months, just getting the bonuses from the Reputation and Admiralty systems, combined with the Dilithium it would take to actually earn those things that you convert to the Dilithium, to get the experience, to also get the bonuses. I mean, really, it's really up to you to decide whether or not it is worth it. But if you need a final push in one direction or another, know this: sometimes this exchange drops considerably. Before it got back up to this level, I saw it drop down into the upper end of the 200s. It was like 285. If that were to happen when you went to sell all that Dilithium, you would end up with $350.87 worth. You could really go crazy on the C-store with that. So, yeah, really, whether or not this is worth it is up to you. It is a considerable time investment. That is for sure. That is the thing that makes it not an exploit. Exploits have the benefit of not taking hardly any time at all. This will take 13 months to max out a single character's Dilithium, plus have some extra left over from one of your alternates. But it'll get the job done. Plus, every 2 characters you cycle through, if you don't have the patience to wait that long, every 2 characters you cycle through, and maybe part of a third one's journey to getting their Dilithium, will generally be enough to get you one of these ships without having to pay $30 for it. But again, that takes about 3 or 4 months. And using just my current cast of characters, I can do it too in that same amount of time. Of course, not all of my characters have gotten their bonuses yet for reaching Tier 5 and Reputations. In fact, some of them are still hitting those every other week, or over the course of a couple of weeks. I'll maybe get 2 or 3 of those, but that's only because I have so many freaking characters already. If you make disposable Dilithium farmer characters, those are going to be the characters you focus on playing for quite some time. logging onto an existing character, maybe to do an event. Or maybe you'll use the dilithium farmers for the event because they get dilithium for it too. Plus, they do the whole account unlocking things account-wide, but then also some rewards are character specific, meaning that only the character who completes the completes the event will actually get the item. Like, for instance, back when this event up here was that one for First Contact Day, and at the end of it you get a Phoenix replica rocket that you can set on the ground anywhere on a social map and launch. Yeah, only my Kaishin character has that. The others cannot claim it, so you got to be careful there. So yeah. So that's all I got on this subject for now. I am, of course, the Sage of Games. That ship there is the Intoxicated Leprechaun, which I'm going to do a separate video on that ship later. So I will see you guys later. Until then, have fun slaughtering the enemies of the Federation. Bye-bye.